Hi. Welcome to Movie Synopsis. This film starts with a view of Japan. There we are shown a man who was a criminal. He was running from the police. Suddenly, he suffers a heart attack and dies. After it, we are shown big criminals who haven't punished yet. All other people in the jail die from heart attacks. These deaths weren't natural, but a boy named Light was behind this. In fact, he found an unordinary book named Death Note. Whose name will be written on it, he'll die. He'll die according to the method written in that book. This book can control people. As Light got this book, so he kept writing the criminals' names to end badness. The whole world gets scared due to the sudden deaths. Criminals were also very scared. The government was also very astonished. Some people were calling it a punishment from God for bad people. Some people were calling it coincidence. Light chose his name after killing bad people. He named himself Kira. Some people were considering Kira their hero. This news went viral in the whole world. Then we see a criminal on live news. He imprisoned a family. Everyone was watching this news, including Light. He held that Death Note book in his hand at that time. After some time, this news is shown that the criminal died. In this part too, Kira is shown as a student of law. He had a best friend named Misa. Their relationship was so good. In college, Light tells Misa that he went to a bar one night. There were also criminals, killers and thieves, etc. Light hears the criminals who were happy because they weren't punished. They misbehave with Light. But Light couldn't do anything against them. He comes out of the bar and throws his law book. He thinks this book is spare and of no use to him. Because in spite of having this book, he is unable to give justice to anyone. But his life changes when he gets Death Note. He got this on the ground. Surprisingly, everywhere was raining except on this book. Then Light brings that book home. He was telling everything to Misa except that book. Because Light didn't tell this to anyone. When Light got this book, he didn't know anything about this, that what's this. But he reads its rules. According to rules, that person will die whose name will be written on it. The method of death was mentioned on it. Then Light watches the news about a criminal. Then to check that criminal, he writes his name in it. The night passes and we see Light the next morning. He was reading a newspaper. The criminal whose name he wrote has died. Seeing it, he gets shocked. Still, he wasn't believing this book. He wanted to check it again. He goes to the bar where a criminal misbehaved with him. Light writes his name in the Death Note. He also writes his way of dying. Light wrote heart attack for his death. In the meantime, that criminal dies with a heart attack. That criminal dies in front of Light. Seeing it, Light gets amazed. Light witnessed everything, so he started believing this book. That this book and its rules work properly. When Light was coming back, he meets the guardian of this book. He was the Angel of Death. As the Angel of Death was so scary to see. Light gets scared of him. He gets to know that only the beholder of this book can see the Angel of Death. Angel of Death explains everything to Light. Then we see some police officers in Japan. They were talking about those deaths. Police also noticed that criminals are dying. They were thinking about Kira, that what he wants, or if he exists or not. Kira isn't a hero, but a criminal. What was happening was a crime. Then we see Light's father. He was a detective and dealing with this case. He wanted to approach Kira. Because Kira wasn't in someone's control, he kept killing everyone. He'll kill everyone doing this. Light's father tells his senior that this case is quite difficult. An intelligent detective will help us to deal with this case. He is L. He will only talk to them on the internet. No one knew the real name of L and no one ever saw his face. He already investigated much about Kira. He was succeeded in it. No one believed about Kira, but L told people that these aren't natural deaths. Because many people died this year. Most of the people died from a heart attack. People who died with a heart attack were medically normal. Light had this book for a long time. Light got so intelligent due to this book. Then we see the angel of death and Kira very close. They kept together. Light used to say that he'll change the world by killing the criminals. The world will be free of crimes if they die. Then we see in the newspaper that L revealed his face. He was discussing Kira. That Kira isn't a hero, but a killer. We'll catch him soon. Hearing it, Light feels bad. To stop L and to let people know that no one can defeat Kira, he writes L's name in it. Suddenly, L on the television suffers a heart attack. He dies. Everyone gets amazed and L becomes happy seeing this. Light gets shocked when acknowledges that he wasn't the real L. Then we see the real L talking on the television without showing his face. He says, "Kira, I am the real L." This transmission was aired only in Japan, so it's confirmed you are from Japan. He says that you can only kill that person whose name and face you know. Light was so worried because he thought no one can catch him. He was worried because L is here against him. Light didn't know his name and had never seen his face. After it, L and Kira have a huge discussion about this fight. L said, "I am a justice provider and he is killer. Therefore, I'll punish Kira." The angel of death couldn't help Kira because he can only be seen by him, but he doesn't support anyone. Then we see that L takes out the data of these deaths. He acknowledges that these deaths happen after the off of schools and colleges. That means Kira is a college student. Then everyone suspects Light as his father was a detective and investigating this case. Light could access data of his father, so he was being suspected. After everyone knew that he kills people after college time, so Kira started killing people in his study time too. L says that he is certainly a student and he is trying to distract us by killing people in school timings. L finds that Kira has access to the database. Therefore, L tells his father and he can have access to the database. He says Kira must be a police officer or our closer one. After some days, Light realizes that the police are having an eye on him. Some detectives are behind him. Kira wanted to get rid of L. The angel of death says, "I know everything about a person's name and how many years are left behind in his life." Then Light asks the angel of death about his real name. In return, the angel of death asks for his life, but Light clearly refuses. That agent who was behind Light plans something to get rid of him. Then Light and Misa go to a bus and that agent comes there too. Then Light asks that agent, "Why are you following me?" To which, that agent doesn't reply. Then a criminal comes in that bus. He points a gun at the bus's driver. Light had written a note there. That he'll grab you, so snatch his gun. But suddenly that paper falls off Light's hand. The criminal holds the paper seeing it. Then he sees the angel of death. He shoots the angel of death many times. But he was the angel of death himself, so nothing happens to him. Seeing it, he gets scared and turns away by stopping the bus. But a car hits that criminal that makes him die. Everything was done according to Light's plan because he wanted to know the name of this agent. Then Light says to that agent not to chase him anymore. Then we see that agent with his wife. As Light was so intelligent, so he played a trick to get rid of these agents. He couldn't kill L, so he wanted to kill those people who were hired by L. Therefore, he starts the series of killing with that agent. Light asks everyone's name from that agent. Agents who were a part of this mission. But in a short time, that agent dies. That death was caused by a heart attack. Because Light didn't want him to live, so he wrote death for him. Here the question arises, if Kira is a hero, then why he's killing good people? After it, all agents got killed one by one. L gets the wind of this as well. All the police officers get scared due to this. They were thinking that they'll be killed by Kira someday like others. They leave this case unsolved and leave. As they had no choice left with him, they ask L to meet him. Then all the police officers go to meet L. Here we see L for the very first time. He was so young and looking like a kid. He wasn't looking like an agent. Then we see that husband's wife was also doing an inquiry on his husband's death. She meets Misa. Misa makes her meet with Light. As she sees Light, she recognizes him and says, "You can't harm me. Because you don't know my real name." Saying this, she leaves. Hearing this, Misa gets shocked and Light was afraid that his secret was getting revealed to everyone. Then we see L fixing cameras in Light's room. When Lights gets to know about this, he doesn't do anything to don't give them a chance of suspicion. He reacts as if he doesn't know anything and everything's normal. Then news about a criminal breaks on the television. On the other hand, everyone was watching over Light that he'll do something. That criminal gets killed, even Light didn't see him on the TV. Due to this, everyone except L clears their suspect about Light. We see that Light was secretly doing his work. It means he is still killing people. After it, all the cameras are removed from Light's room. It seemed as everything has become normal. But that agent's wife was still investigating the case. She calls L and says, "I am taking a risk on my life. But I'll prove that Light is Kira." He calls Light at someplace where she pointed a gun at Misa. She wanted Light to confess that he's Kira, but he refuses to accept. Availing the chance, Misa runs away. Then that agent's wife starts shooting Light. But the bullet mistakenly hits Misa. Misa dies on the spot. Afterward, that agent's wife kills herself. What was happening there was being recorded. The police also come there after this. Then we see that Light and Angel of Death are talking to each other. Light tells the Angel of Death that what happened earlier was a part of my plan. As the book's owner can control the situation, so I already wrote everything in that book. He killed his friend too. It means he was a devil who did the devil's deed. Light says to his father that he'll help him and all the police officers to catch Kira. Light was doing this so that no one suspects him and his secret will not be revealed. He'll keep doing his work. In the last, he meets L, face to face. The movie ends here. Thanks for watching.